to open sort of in the middle of the mat, maybe slightly just closer to the back end of your mat than the front end. Kneeling, propped with a blanket if it's a little intense to sit on those heels, or pad beneath the knees. Block here, all of these things, or get out of it and just sit cross-legged if it's really uncomfortable. We're going to open the palms now in the lap. And just close the eyes for a moment. And drop down into the body, go down to the shins, possibly the front of the ankles. They probably won't be touching the top of the feet. And just allow some softness to happen there where we feel the bones in the feet beginning to release their grip and sort of spread out. It's kind of a nice thing to do in the morning just because you probably didn't wear shoes to bed last night. So your feet may be a little more manageable and less tight than at the end of the day. The other thing to mention about side bending and what I put together today is it's great for the morning. It really wakes up your body. Maybe you don't want to do it at 10 o'clock at night. Having said that, just move from the base of the pose, move up, settle for a moment in the pelvis, sort of gently rocking it forward and back. I won't sort of see you do this. It's more of a micro movement. I'm just getting acquainted with the mobility through this area. And then just move up the spine gradually, sort of following the natural curves of the spine to the hyoid, which is just beneath the chin, and then up to the crown of the head. And move back down to where your collarbones are resting and sort of feel them open up, spread a little bit. And then finally, take a couple of breaths. If you want to release them audibly, that's fine. Sort of in through the nose and out through the mouth, or keep the cycle internal, so keeping the mouth closed and just feeling smoothly, nothing too intense. And then finally, move to the waist, both sides. And just observe, because we'll do it again at the end and just see if we've brought some space and some airiness to this area. Let's keep the eyes closed as we move into the topmost part of the spine. We don't have to look anywhere. Leave the hands where they're resting and just focus on the crown of the head. And begin to sort of tilt it back. Imagine drawing a circle with the crown, so there's a laser beam from the crown of the head, and just draw it on the ceiling, on your ceiling. So it's not huge movements, just small movements, going one direction, and then you can move into the other direction. Again, focusing on that channel right at the top of the head. Good. And then come to stillness. We'll take the hands from where they're resting. Again, keep the eyes closed. It's nothing technical. Just bring them up, interlace the fingers, and cradle the back of the head. Elbows out to the sides of our space, nice and tall through the trunk. On an exhalation, kind of feel the head, push your head, the occipital bone, into the palms. And then on an exhalation, we bring the chin towards the chest and the elbows towards one another. Don't pull too hard, right? Be gentle, but a little bit of traction. And then inhale, butterfly those open, feel the shoulder blades come to the spine. Do a couple of more of those at your own pace. Just keeping it smooth. Try not to be jaggedy, kind of fill the space with that gentle, fluid movement. Again, keeping the lower back and the rest of the spine stable. Just the cervical part is kind of really moving. Yeah. And then opening back up, and we'll take the left hand and bring it to the right side of the head, and the right hand, just put it to your thigh for a moment, palm down. Press into that hand gently And just pull that left ear over towards that shoulder. Noticing the space that we've created from the ear to the shoulder cap on the right side. Maybe play around. These are tiny micro movements, lifting the chin or lowering it. You find your sweet spot, but again, it's very subtle. You might feel the feet responding now. Just try to stay still on them and then come up. Take that hand off, bring it down to the thigh, and put the right one up to the outside. And again, put a little traction into the hand with the strength, and then just gently ease it over towards that right shoulder. Now opening it on the left side of the neck. This is about opening. And then up, bring that hand down, and then just allow the eyes to look down in sort of the little pillowy beds that they're in, and open the lids, unfocused, right? And we'll just finally take the hands, interweave them again, just facing the heart center, and then push them out, shoulder caps into the body. Start to raise them up. If the shoulder caps respond by crimping in, stop. That's good enough. If you can keep going and you feel that stretch up the side of the body, keep going. If you stopped here, stay there. If you're coming up with me, palms looking to the ceiling, stretching out those palms, pull your belly in and come to stand on the knees with the bind. Good. And then slowly open over to the left, stretching up. Try to keep stacked over those knees. And then inhale. It's not going to be your deepest one because there's nothing to hold on to. Go over to the other side. Experience some fluid side bending. We'll be doing quite a bit of it today. And then let go of the bind as we're up here, and just smooth the hands back down, releasing the shoulder caps away from the neck. Take the left leg out and bring the heel slightly past the knee. Put the left hand on that and press towards the back of your space. Just give some traction there so you know you feel it in the leg. And the top of that right foot, try to notice, keep visiting there as you breathe. Maybe inhaling on side of the breath you choose, just go to the toes and sort of see how they feel, because they may start crimping in. Begin to list over towards that leg, just waiting to get that feedback here, releasing the toes of the left foot away from each other. So we're stacked and tall. Reach the right arm up. Good. And then slowly. So you're going to have to release the pressure. Just slowly let the left fingertips reach towards the ground as we take a side bend. Once you get to the apex of your side bend at the bottom of the exhalation, reroute your pose by pressing the heel of your left foot down, spiraling open the right chest, reaching through the length on the side of the body from the hip to the fingers. Press through that left foot and come back up. Bring that leg in and go right to the other side. So right foot out, slightly past, but you can choose what's good for you. Just don't have it in here because you don't want to overdo on your knee and your ankle. The right hand comes down to give a little bit of space. So we get mindful of the feedback, primary feedback here. Then we're going to move the primary into a side bend. So first, let's work on the groins, the inner leg on that right side. And note the stability in the core here. It's kind of nice and stacked. Then lift the left arm up. This is where we change the traction. So the right hand just slides down the leg towards the ground as we completely release the top side of the body. Snuggle in the right waist, so we're really squeezing that in. This is the side of the liver. And reach through that top arm, opening up the intercostal, the breathing muscles here on the side of the body. And then push up and away. And let's just reach the hips towards the heels, stretching it out. Bring the hands forward, spread out the palms through the fingers, so really strong arms, and then let the ears come down for a moment. Press the ground away. That's it. And then slide the hands back towards you, sort of pull them down, lift the shoulders up over the wrists and separate the knees so they're beneath the hips. And just take a moment in this classic table. So pressing the hands equally down the top of the feet, the front of the ankles, maybe the front of the shins instead of the kneecaps. Just see if you can get that. So the kneecaps are actually really soft there. Plug the belly in. And then you begin to walk over to the right, taking the gaze down to the pinky side toe of your right foot, stretching out the waist and the muscles on that plane, and then come back to center, release that, and go to the other side. That's it. Come back to center. Taking the toes under now, counter pose, stretch out the under toes, get some action in the arches. You can see I'm just doing little movements. Feel free to create that space and make your practice kind of your own. I like to don't try not to be too rigid. Just lift the knees up now, both of them. And again, might do micro movements to keep a little soft. This is a very strong lift, core strength, taking the right leg straight out from the hips, spreading the toes of the right foot, staying buoyant and strong. And then bring that right leg down, plant it, and move to the other side. So stretching the left leg straight out, spread the toes, get that strong arch. Bring that leg down, bring the knees down, and send the hips back another time towards the heels, coming back up. Or take the left leg straight out and toes look forward. And just be aware here of what's happening through the hips. I'd like you to feel that their left leg crease, so where it enters into your groins, drops towards the floor. It's going to want to lift away, and then your hip, you'll be on an angle, and that just makes it feel great, and the body will love it. But try to counter that by keeping nice and rooted through this left groin. Walk the hands back. That right foot is turned under still, right? And just come back, sending the hips over this right heel, maybe stretching out to increase the depth for a moment along the side and the back body. And then stay deep in this, pop a little bit up so the shoulders were released from the intensity, and move the hands a little bit over to the right. See how that feels, keeping really rooted to the left foot. Strong to that leg, that extended leg. And allow the opening. There's a lot going on. Feel the pressure through the toes of that right foot. Drop this left side of the body in towards the ground and really soak up the richness of this. Okay, pop back up. Bring the hands to center. Come away from that heel and bring that knee in. And take the right leg out. Plant it. Now, toes of the right foot are under. Hands are supporting us beneath the shoulders, and tilt your hips up a little bit. So I forgot to mention that. Try to be very aware of entering this with a very kind of a dog tilt, if anything, or neutral spine, not a cat, not a domed back. Send the hips back towards that left heel, putting the pressure on the undertoes. Begin to find the depth through extending the arms, lowering the forehead. Breathing into the side of the body. And just notice, this is how, when I said pop up the shoulders, you pop them up away from the ground, it'll alleviate and take a new strain. And that gives us a chance to bring the hands back and move over towards the side bend. And then you can deepen it again. But I'd suggest kind of back away so you really benefit from the process versus going in from your full depth to another full depth. You may miss out on finding some sort of rich areas, some shadowy parts. Again, root through the pinky side of that right foot. Try not to let it slip over. That's what it's going to want to do. And then bring the hands back. Pop the shoulders up. Bring that leg in. Stretch forward. And we're going to go to plank from there. So start to walk the legs, shifting the weight forward. Waking up the backs of the knees as we just pedal them down a little bit. And now take a visit, come to stillness, take a visit of shoulder caps and feel if they were moving, they're sinking in towards your lungs and your heart, not up towards your ears. So try to do that on your own, this sense of fullness through the upper rib cage. Nice and strong. Okay, we're going to bring the right leg, move the right leg to the inside of the left elbow. You may not get there, doesn't matter. Plug the belly in. and put it back. Bring it underneath the heart. That's it. And put it back. Plug your belly in. It's strong the whole time. Bring the right knee to the right elbow. And back. Do it on the left side. Left knee to right elbow. Oh, bring some left knee to the center. Let that right heel come forward to help. And then back. And left knee to left elbow. And back. Soften the knees, which means bend them a little bit. Take the strain out of the back of the knees and start to go into your downward dog. Once you feel the front end sort of light up, then you can start to address the back end, finding the placement of the heels, the feet, and then refining the inversion. Take the right leg up for a 3-point downward dog. If you feel too much strain on your wrists, bring your left shin down. Okay, don't do this. Otherwise, go into flight here. Refine it. Try to keep the hips squared so the right toes don't look to the sidewall. A couple of lift and lowers of that left heel. We'll just notice you can create more space. On one of the lifts, stay high. Bring the right foot where the right hand was. Look down your pose. If the toes of your left foot are in line with your right heel, you need some space, okay? Because I've been seeing that quite a lot in our classes. We're stepping back in one line. It's not. Give some space for the hips to exist. And then lower the knee where it is. We're very long, so it's been a long crescent pose. Release the feet slowly. Press into the top of the foot and do that little tweak. Lift the knee back up and then put it down. And only then put the right hand on the thigh and we'll just back away. Okay, so this right leg is going to come, the knee comes well behind the heel. And then left hand on the right hand. You can, that's useful. It's external levers. So just gently kind of ease down into the muscles of your quadriceps. You have 3. And kind of pulling them away, because otherwise sometimes this gets a little bit pinchy. So this action just gives a bit more space as you come into quite a deep crescent. Address the core from the above the pubic bone to the throat, but especially a diaphragm. This area will tend to do this. And then you're only working in your lower back. And we're actually trying to open the hips, the hip flexors, the front. Okay, this is a little bit deep, so just be gentle. You can leave your right hand where it is, or you can slide it to your hips, palm in, so cradling the side of you. Left arm's coming up, and you're going to side bend over towards that right hip. So not only are we moving forward with the energy now, we've taken the energy forward and we're driving it up the side of the body through the fingertips, bringing it back down, refine, and then come up. The left arm sweeps all the way down, get some nice movement on the shoulder, plant it down on the inside of that right foot. Take the toes under of the back leg and bring it up. Focus on taking that right hip towards the back of your space and imprinting the inside of your right foot. Just see how that, I hope you feel the energy shift in these 2 spots. Just changes this posture completely while you keep very focused on the grounding and the setting back. And then the spine's just going along for the ride. We're going to go into this lunging twist. Neck is nice and even on both sides, and then stack the arm up and then create more and more space between those 2 hands. Send the right hip back and root the inside of the right foot. And then take this right arm, have it face the front of the space, bring it down over top, and then bow, open the right ribs. Just see, just for a moment. Inhale back up, pull those ribs back in. Side and find that mat. Take this right leg and bring it back. Find your downward dog. Adjust your hands or your feet. Don't be shy to move around within it. But just don't, every movement's deliberate. So try not to run on the spot. Left leg comes up. Find that pelvis, opening the chest. Energizing the whole body from fingertips the sole of that right foot. Lift and lower that right leg and just move it around. This helps create space. Come on high, pull your belly in, dome your back, and put your left foot where your left hand was, give or take. Or remember, come down. Already very long. Remember to keep some space for the hips. Back away. So that backing away allows us actually to, I think, to find more or richer depth. So we're backing away, nothing's straining. Then we can access our alignment and really kind of dive a little bit deeper into the vessel. And then left hand and the right hand, if you want to do that, and you kind of gently push down and pull away from the groin, drift forward. Remember that knee, the pressure's on the back foot, maybe the top of the back foot. I have a very high instep, so it tends to take the pose, but not the kneecap. Okay, not the kneecap. And the dollars to donuts, your shin is not touching the ground. That's okay. Okay. Leave that left hand there or bring it to the side waist, elbows back, to be mindful of keeping this space open, arm up, and take your side bend right out of that hip. There's balance here. Okay, keep the gaze soft. The lids are soft. The eyes are cradled. And the breath is even. And just deliberately move to where you want to feel the most opening. So here, primary is moved now to the side body. And then up. Plant the hand, toes under, lift. Get long. Embed this left foot. Spiral open. Nice. So how about trying on this side? Every time the exhalation leaves the body, it's time, you go down to your foundation. The 2 feet, the ball of the foot, the full foot, the right hand. Okay. And just sink them more deeply. And every time you inhale, go for a little bit more space. There's that fairy dust on the inhale, get big. Exhale. And then we're going to take that top arm, the left one, to face our ear. Bring it down like Parsvakonasana, but we're going to explode through the side ribs. Up, 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 up. Make the work in the side body, not the shoulders. And then down. Take the leg back. Take yourself for a moment. In this inversion, just give yourself a moment just to sit with it. And then do your little walks. If you want to kind of get into the hips, why don't we do that today? Cross the left leg, cross the right leg, press the left. You can, like you're curtsying, but very deep knees and right. And there's going to be some point you can no longer do it. Be okay with that. Find evenness in the mat. Let the belly reach the thighs and let the head go. Begin to lift the hips a bit. So getting a bit higher, at which point we can take hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite hand to enhance the length. Just feel the difference, sense the difference when you take hold versus dangling. They're both beautiful, but recognizing just a different hand placement changes the energy and the intensity. And then let go of those elbows. Bring the hands to the side, seam of your pants, and start to take it into half stand. Reaching out of those hips, firing up the thighs. That's it. Lift the trunk so the chest, send the arms now even more past your seat, a little higher for, yeah. So you're on an angle, think of Utkatasana with the legs wide, yep. And then shift the balance, lifting to the heels, dropping your pose a little bit and plugging your belly in. And be okay with the shaking. Cool. Take the arms now while balancing. Bring them up to shoulder height, facing the ceiling. Energize the backs of the arms. So you're at sayin. Find the mat with the heels. Press down into both heels. So you have this reach up, powerful. Look up to see the palms meet one another. Maybe lift the heart a little bit towards the ceiling, stretch the belly out, reach down the legs, and then bring them down to the heart. Okay. Now we're going to put it into the flow. I think everybody here, you know that you can always sink back and meet us in downward dog. Otherwise, we're going to go to the mat into cobra or chaturanga to upward dog or chaturanga down and then take it. So we may be at different cycles. We're going to do 3 cycles. Don't worry about where I am. Don't worry about where anybody else is. Do your 3 cycles. And then find stillness, bring one palm and the other. When you're finished, when you come to stand, and just drop the chin, okay? And move right to the feet afterwards. So starting in some TTT, toe knuckles together, you'll be sort of like this. Okay, just rock through the feet, forward and back, side to side. Really feel the earth. It's quite a narrow stance. Inhaling up like we did before, maybe gaze up if it's okay for your neck. Exhale, turn the palms, swan dive over the hips and over those legs. You can bend if you need to. Maybe the first one you want to do with me. Inhaling, step back to plank. Actually, no, you go at your own pace. Inhale, come down towards the earth. Inhaling, press the ground away no matter what back bend you're in. Pull the belly up. Downward dog. Take at least 3 breaths in downward dog. Often it's 5. So this is where we're all going to differ. So just honor yourself. When you step through, the only thing is I want you to do a side bend when you come up. So forward fold. Inhale, reach through the crown all the way up. If you're not there yet, don't worry, just side bend over to the right. Up, side bend over to the left. And move back down. So 2 more of those. Whatever you did, do it again. That's it. Just keep going. Just honor the flow. It doesn't matter if you miss a side. Just. Feel your way through the sequence. Just feel it. Intuition will tell you when to move. And don't forget your side bend. Beautiful. Process. Maybe when you finish, when you do find your standing pose, you may want to close your eyes and just tune in a little more deeply to your foundation. Perhaps your energy level. Let's separate the feet a little bit, bring the hands down, and we'll just gently open them so the pinky side of the hands are sort of cresting the side of the pants, so you create space here. A little bit more. Reach these arms once again up to the sides of our space, reach them out, feeling like the lungs, it's not happening, but the lungs sort of ease their way to the breathing side, the side ribs as we reach out, out, out. And then we're going to bring them down, cradle the back of the pelvis. So kind of like this. Elbows draw together as close as you can. And create the standing sort of camel. Gently, gently focusing much more on your thoracic. So upper back and upper chest, not the neck. The neck is very mobile. Just let it crest in the same arc, okay? So you feel comfortable that you can still speak or breathe. Just soak up the benefit of opening the heart to the sky. And then when you finish, plug the belly in, bring the hands to the side groin, and step back with your right foot. Lifting the toes of the left and bringing them in, lifting the toes of the right and bringing them out. You'll be facing the back of your mat with a nice long stance, just looking down, heel, front heel in line with the back heel. Okay. Arms up, open them. Thumb and first finger together, soften the elbows towards the waist, getting a real sense of the release across the upper chest. It might be easier after that last posture. Keep the gaze over the heart line and just bend that front leg. So I don't know if I'm going to just say it. So for me, my stance was too narrow, too short, and my knee is going too far. So I'm just going to adjust to where I feel, okay, that's my little sweet spot. Feel full-footed on both sides and a really vigorous left arch. So if you feel that your energy is running down this inside of that back leg and you kind of like fire that back up, rolling open that back leg, do these things. Okay. Put the left hand, release the mudra. Take the left hand down on the thigh. The right one out like you did before. And just let this left hand glide down. So no pressure on the leg or the side of the knee. And just do this reverse warrior, big and wide through the groins to the leg creases, mirroring that hugeness through the side body, reaching towards the back of the space with those hands. And then come up now, add the left one up, right leg stays bent, lift that right heel, sink the pose. Bring the hands behind the head, interlace them, elbows out to the side, and slowly, you may need to stop here and just refine. See if starting the mindful process into a lifted variation of Parsvakonasana. There's a bind, there's a hinge, there's a heel lift, lots of it. Okay. Find the mat with that right heel. Let the right hand come down to the right thigh. The left one can just go about as we straighten up, both arms looking to the ceiling for a moment, or to the floor. Toes in, toes out. You should be facing the front of your mat, left side. And open, stretch out. So here it's the inhalation that you want to really feel your swelling. This area out. Accentuate the lines of energy with those fingers, thumb and first finger. Down. Gazing over that midline, yes. And breathing into the upper chest as well as the upper back. So you have a sense that the dome of your ribs, the front and back, are breathing like this, evenly, equidistant from the lungs and the heart. Right hand comes down. You're going to do reverse warrior. Up, over, again, Don't put pressure on the back leg. It's just there. Oh, I see a bit of this happening. Can you plug back in your hip? I see a lot of the right hip. You're thrusting forward through your front of your hips. Try to find equilibrium through the pelvic bowl so you don't strain the front. Okay? And then up. Hands behind the head, elbows out to the side. Engage the shoulder blades. It's not about your elbows. Okay, it's the shoulder blades coming into the spine. Lift that heel, drop the pose. You can always bring the heel back down anytime you please, or don't add the heel. Slowly go down. Ooh. Nice. So watch that left knee. I see a lot of, if you feel comfortable on the inside of your left thigh, it's probably a message from the fascial network of the body that you need to open that left thigh behind you. It'll keep closing. Find the mat with the heel, come back up. Let go of the back of the head. Bring the hands now down to the hips, the front. So we had back, side, now the front. Lift the toes of your left foot in a little bit. And you see, I happen to know that I need my stance a bit narrower, but you can find that. We're doing a variation on Prasarita Padottanasana. So it's a wide leg forward fold. It's the widest, most cooling forward fold. So it's come halfway. And this is where blocks or chair can come in handy. Just be mindful if you're practicing alone, you could use blocks on their high and play around here. You can even pretend you have hands on the blocks and see how you can manipulate the pose by floating. It's a bit stronger, obviously. Instead of finding the floor, find the strength in the legs. Float, maybe tenting the fingers, maybe reaching out, recreating that top half of downward dog, feeling rooted through the hands. And long, long through the body. Okay. Walk the hands back until it gives you a little more ease. And you feel you can bend. And we're going to bend or open the feet. And walk the hands over towards the right foot. Yeah. So let's all recreate that natural hollow in the lower back. What are you going to do? Lift your bottom up a little bit. Engage your core. Yeah, there it goes. And try to keep your bottom from sinking down in this variation. Okay. Walk over to the other side on that plane. Reaching down that right leg now. Feel it wake up. That's it. Yes. So it means if you need to come to tented fingers, or you have to get higher in order to get a neutral lower back, you have to do that. Read, body read. And then we're going to drift over to the right side again, but this time slowly. The hands are supporting us. We're going to let the left foot peel off, and we are indeed going to drop down. So we come to the Achilles of the left side. The body's on the inside of this right leg. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Press the hands, they're supporting us. Find the footing through that left and repeat the same on the right. When you sink your bottom down, it's bringing the hamstring to the calf. Try to lift your chest a little bit. So I see a lot of chests that are facing the ground. Try to lift them up. Sit in. Yeah. Okay. Come back. In the center, the feet are still out. One hand and the other can come to the thigh. And then slowly straighten up. Arms up. So think of a starfish and really radiate from here. So you feel that pulsing. This is kind of red, orange, and yellow. I see a lot, not right now, but often it's just moving from the wrists. So really work whatever it takes to focus the pulse of the energy down here. Until everything kind of feels like it's lit up. And then the knees will bend and the elbows will hinge in towards the waist. The collarbones will react by releasing their grip on the throat. And then we'll lift and drop. So there's lots of names. Horse pose, karate. A little bit more, see if that's okay. Find the mat with the feet. Put the right hand down. Side bend, not hinge. Reach it up. Left hand down, recreate it on the other side. Elbow of the left arm reaches into the waist. Do a few of those, keeping deep, and just find fluid. So feel like underwater plant. No stiffness. You may not go super deep, but just get the rhythm of opening and closing smoothly. Keep that foundation strong. And opening. Do a couple more. And they're all going to look different. And slowly come up. Lifting that back foot. So it's going to be the right one that you're going to lift and turn in, and then the heel out until you can step up to the top of the mat for a moment, a Rahasya, just equal standing. And then that's just here. We're going to do tree. Right leg is the standing leg to start off with. The left one can go anywhere, except for the inside of the knee. Let's start the hands reverse. Down here. Yeah. Okay. That standing leg. Go bring the arms out, soft elbows. Thumb and first finger, elbows down. Release your fingers. Float the hands back down. Close the knee up to look at me. Place it down. Go to the other side. I'm going to let go of my motor to bring that leg up, but you don't have to, right? Just actively drop the right hip down. Okay. Fine. Thumb and first finger, elbows in. That dynamic root growing to the core. Release. Back down. Close up the leg. Plant it down. Release the hands. Make your way on however many exhalations you choose down into your ragdoll. So collapsing. Usually it starts with the chin. Pulling the belly in, and you are doming the back when you drop down. And you take hold of the opposite elbow if you want to create a little more dynamic stretch along the side of the body, or move, sway in it a little bit. Find what works for you and what feels good. My thing is, I really want you to learn to how to deliberately let go of tension in the neck and let the head fall. And then we're going to find the mat with the hands and step back. Bring the knees down, release the feet, and just stretch back for a moment. Drift into the right side of the body and the left side of the body, keeping the hands where they are. Just bring a little bit of rocking movement. to forearm plank. So the forearms on the mat, the palms face down, the fingers are spread, and then the toes can step back. We can light up the core. There are two ants running around here. Complement that with Sphinx. So bring the knees down and the hips down, and to feel the hips connect. Actively release the feet. Press the ground away. Lift the chest up and draw it to the front of your space and to the short end of the mat. Keep the neck comfortable. Press the ground away. Okay, we're going to flow between these two friendly postures. So toes under. And see if you can lift into the forearm plank in one instead of going to your knees. Okay, and one. Okay. Exhale down. Inhale, Sphinx. Press the ground away. Breathe here. Exhale, lower the gaze, toes under, lift up. Inhale. Okay, now we're going to do it on the sides of the breath. Exhale, down, inhale. Exhale, down, or lift up. Inhale, down, up, Sphinx. Down. This time, take the elbows out, put the head on the back of the hands, rest it, allow the heels to fall away from that center line. Just noting how the body's kind of unzipped. Just take a moment. Good, and let's complement that with an arm balance. And done. So rolling over to the right side first, find the elbow and the forearm out. This is one you could put your left hand on top and press it down or find a little fist. I don't usually do fists, but lift up. Let's bring the left arm up. You know, you can have your left foot on the mat to make it less intense. Just to have it underneath. And with our theme, bring it over and bow open. So feel almost like a bow, like a bow and arrow. Bring it back up, re-plug in, left side of the waist, bring it down and the hip down at the same time. Just roll over onto your tummy. Don't stay there. Just roll right to the other side. Creating that posture on the other side, arm up, around, reach down the inside of each foot, bring the arm, and then feel like really reaching up through the right side of the body with the ankle and the fingers, anchoring us down, and then up, down. This time, come to your tummy and take a little cobra, pressing the ground away. Rolling the shoulders back, keeping the elbows safe by the side. And then make your way. You can either just walk your knees up or go to downward dog to step through to sitting at the top of the mat. Letting the chin soften in and the belly soften in towards the spine and the crown sink. Take the right leg out and flex at the ankle so the toes look to the ceiling and the left foot in. The heel comes into the groin instead of like in Jen, not over here. Okay, bring it. Try to roll the top of that foot. Left hand, this is where you could bring in your block. But the right arm stays open. Left arm comes up. Yeah, instead of reaching for the feet, just explore the expansiveness of this side bend, seated side bend. perhaps moving the apex of the pose from where it naturally will be, which is here, the breathing muscles. Can we move it down to the waist? Releasing there, lengthening there, spiraling towards, openly towards the ceiling. Up. Just slowly put that leg in, take the other leg out. Up and over. Same thing, breathing into the top side of the body. And the neck, follow the trajectory of the spine. Up. Okay, so we're here, sort of in this shape. Tuck the legs under, come to your knees, or just come to your knees. Flip the hands, just like we did when we opened, and take a moment, closing the eyes. Connect with the energy that's, I'm hoping, running parallel to the spine, on the side of the body, or you feel woken up, perhaps more alive, more invigorated, energetic. Okay, let's take a twist. So just lean forward and drop your right hip down. So hip, heel, heel. Find the mat with your right hand somewhere. I'd suggest keeping the gaze either over the heart or maybe a little bit over the front of the shoulder, but try not to be too deep in top part of the spine. Enjoy this twist. So feel that counteraction of this opening, and then kind of we squeeze it with the breath cycles. And then up, cross over, hinge, plant, find the mat, pull the ribs in. Maybe you can even run the energy of this pose down to your left glute, center, your hip. Come up. Just find the mat behind us with the fingertips, plant the palms down. Just look down towards the inside of the knees. We'll lift the hips, squeeze the shoulder blades together, raise the hips up, lengthen across the front of both hips down towards the knees, and then plug the belly in. Take a moment to feel heavy over those feet. Elbows are going to bend to the back of the space, and we just have the idea of lifting our shins. They may not move from the mat. That's totally fine. So just plug your belly in. Oh, my pinky toe knuckle just went. And then find the mat. Find your downward dog. Take a step or two in there, a breath or two. And then you can step forward when you're ready. Come back on your seat. Feet hip distance apart. And then we'll just put our forearms down to support us. Drop the lower back into the mat. Squeeze the belly down. Stretch out the shoulder blades and continue moving up the spine to the back of the head. Just take a moment. So I'm adjusting my feet. You do the same. Lift the hips. Replant them down. Take the right leg. Calf of the right leg is touching the hamstring. So the foot is nice and soft. reach for it. Keep your lower back in its neutral shape away from the mat for the moment and just pull that right knee almost towards your armpit, so more to the side of the body instead of to your chest. Okay, let go, cross it over the left leg, and now activate the ankle. Means bring some energy to that ankle and the foot and lift your left shin from the mat. And don't go any farther. Just keep your hands, mine's around my belly, and see if you can keep your lower back from pressing in, because they're just working. And you isometrically find depth without gripping. Okay, so I suggest exploring a slight drift to the left side, or circles. See if you can find it resonate deeply in the right hip. Maybe bring your left thigh in. Takes energy because the core has to activate so that the lower back doesn't sink in, because the hips are so strong and vital that they will always make something else do their work. And then put the foot down, that left foot. Tiring for that left foot. And then do the same on the other side. Bring the hands back into the posture, lower back's away from the mat, and the foot is nice and relaxed. Okay. So you really feel it in the groin. And getting sort of really knowledgeable about what it's like when the foot is relaxed. And then fire it up, cross it over, release that knee away from you. Lift the right leg and the shin parallel to the floor and begin isometrically deepening the pose without gripping yourself. See, you can lots of other times to grip. Let's see if you can practice this without, like just with your own energy and strength. So I just found mine. I pulled my right leg in a bit and drifted a bit over to the right, and everything is singing. Core's working. And we're learning to, it may look less deep, but it's actually very rich. And then put the foot down, uncross. Okay. Stretch your left foot out to the left corner and cross the right one over top or beside it. Drop your right hip into the mat. It'll want to lift. So pressing the back in, just shift the upper back over. So you're doing this kind of banana shaped stretch, taking hold of the right wrist and stretch it up. Really pulling it from ankle to pinky finger. And then undo, come to center, and recreate that on the other side. It may not feel the same. One side may resist a little bit more. Who knows? And then come back to center, uncross the legs, bring them comfortably out from the hips and just let them fall out. Shavasana. Take the arms and bring them away enough from the body that you have a real sense of relief in the underarms here. Nothing's touching. Feel the center of the palms sink into the bones of the hands, supported by the floor. Again, if you're touching anything like I was, move it. Closing the eyes. Really soaking up this feeling of being held, quiet. You get to notice the rise and the fall of cycles of the breath. Just tune into those inhalations. Perhaps even breathing outside of the body, into the space around you, into the ground beneath you, into the space above you. You may want to move your hands or your fingers or have a stretch, whatever feels good. Where you take yourself from this, just to close by coming up to sitting, eyes closed. Thank you for sharing your practice.